Welcome to CaCo Talks, the weekly podcast where conversations about life, hot topics, mental health, and more take center stage. We are your hosts, Catelyn and Courtney Geiger. Together, we explore thought-provoking discussions with an ambient vibe that inspires open and honest dialogue. So sit back, relax, and join us for some insightful conversation that will leave you feeling informed and inspired.
Hey everybody, welcome back to CaCo Talks. Tonight we are doing a very special episode. I'm so excited. We are solving celebrity PR crises. Are you ready to get into it?
Pretty excited because I'm very passionate about this. There's got a couple on my list that I'm very passionate about.
Yes, this came up we were just talking about celebs in general, and Caitlin was expressing some of her genuine concerns about somebody's celebrities. And I was like, this needs to be a podcast because we can solve some PR crisis. Like, they need to hire us.
Call your girl. Call your girl, okay? Emails in the description. Call me.
Yes, let us know. We can come up with a whole strategy for you.
Marketing manager, here I am.
For the low fee of how much we charging?
It ain't gonna be low. I mean, this is pristine managing, okay?
Top tier.
It's not gonna be low. It's not gonna be low.
Some of y'all need a whole overhaul.
Some of these on these lists we're gonna discuss today, it's gonna cost y'all a lot of money. It really is. It's gonna be a hefty cost because y'all really need some help.
Absolutely. Okay, so who is our first celebrity?
I think we got to start out with the one and only Chloe Bailey, because Jesus Christ, nothing gets more under my skin than Miss Chloe Bailey. So, disclaimer, I'm going to put this out here. So, Keke Palmer, right, back in the day, was really not, she needed a PR adjusting back then, right? But she's gotten it together. Mama is looking good. Body banging these days since baby boy Leotis and into the world. She really, well, I would say for the last couple of years, I guess I just didn't give her credit. But she's calmed down. She's more mature, more poised.
She's moving in her lane.
I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm here for it. You know, Chloe is old Keke now. You know, she has been replaced. And the problem is Chloe is a protege of Beyonce. And it's not giving protege. It's giving... Confused is giving I'm trying to be something I'm not. It's giving I'm trying to be Beyonce but not Beyonce because I'm not here being almost a prostitute, excuse my French. So it's just like, oh, Chloe. And the thing is, then you have, you know, Halle, love Halle, the angel from God himself, right? It's just, I don't know. Halle, don't come at us for this, okay? Because she does like to tussle with the girls for her sister. She like to tussle now. She certainly does.
Disclaimer, it's not that we don't think that these celebrities are talented. I want to put that out there. It's not about questioning their talent. We think that there are strategic moves and kind of more ways they could define themselves better as artists in the public. That's really what we're trying to say here. Because I don't want this coming up 10 years later, you know, when I'm trying to get my career on and popping. And Chloe's going to be like, girl, you said, and I'm like, hold on up.
You just
we just think there's some adjustments that could be, we just think there's some adjustments that could be made.
Yeah, and I really think which I think part of it is okay, the artist does do what they want to do, cool. But as somebody who's marketing this artist, because that's what you end up doing as an artist enters the public space, right? You are ultimately marketing who they are as an individual. So it's important to market them in a space where they will also be received, because that is how you get your coins, you know? Not saying it has to be solely based off of that, but I think it does say a lot for who is successful and who's not successful in that industry.
I think we're not just buying into the music. We also are, unfortunately, and I don't even like this model, but we also are buying into the person. Like, the person is a brand. So, I think those should probably coincide, or at least have some sort of symbiotic relationship. Not saying that everything has to be cookie cutter and clean and just have this wholesome image or whatever. But I do think that if you're going to put your work out there, especially probably as a musician, it is important to make sure that your music and your brand, I guess, meld. If you're going to enter the industry and sell yourself that way, that's what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. So what about like Chloe? I have my opinions, but what about Chloe makes you say that
cringe
she needs
a little bit?
PR.
Yeah, just a PR shift, really. I think
revamp.
Right now,
not even a shift, revamp. We need to start from zero. We need to start over.
I think what has thrown people off so much is the hard pivot she did from kind of this like indie songstress with her sister
to
this like kind of good girl, and which I understand. You grow up, you shift, you change, and like you can shake off certain personas, right? Because those things happen to all women. We all grow up and we evolve and we become these other sort of being, or we explore more things, right? That's not even uncommon. I think what really throws people is the hard pivot she did away from that to this kind of like sex pot. And it's not like sensual in the sense of like a Beyonce or even like a more classic like Marilyn Monroe or people who kind of like leave something to be desired. I think she just went straight to like sex and almost explicit in some ways. And I think that's never really the right move unless you really are like in the adult industry or something. You know what I mean? So that's what I think, because I think it distracts from the music. It's like she's like putting her sexual energy out there, and it's hard to totally critique that, because in a way it can be empowering to women to do that. But I just think that the way she's going about it, I don't know if it's necessarily empower. It's like this line between just explicit and empowering to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that it's like murky, because it's like and I like you said, I think there is a point where an artist goes through like liberation, right? I'm no longer under my parents' hold. I'm no longer a kid anymore. I want to do what I want to do. Okay, cool. But it's just like the way is very raunchy. It's like extremely raunchy. Like, I expect things like that from like Cardi B, because Cardi B has always been that way. Okay. Cardi lives that life. She's been, a stripper and things like that. So that's a part of who she is.
She's also doing hardcore hip hop. I think hip hop as a genre there's already a precedent set by people like Lil' Kim and other rappers with more that, like, I don't even say gangster, but kind of like that is already seen as a very raunchy genre of
and there's
music.
already like a certain like look for that, and I don't think Miss Bailey hits the mark. No offense.
Yeah.
I
mean,
I think they also live that lifestyle. The people who are notoriously known for that life, they have literally lived that lifestyle. That's why it's more fitting. It fits.
And it feels more authentic to them, And we have our critiques about that lifestyle too, but like, I just think, Chloe's really trying to step into R&B space because she sings. She's not a rapper. So I think she's stepping into R&B, and R&B is also historically known for implying rather than stating explicitly, right? Like R&B is all about innuendo and it's all about a feeling and soul. And I think that is a different way to experience sexuality and sensuality than just explicit kind of, talking about your pee and the things you're doing and like, that I just think like, I don't know. Yeah. That's what I think. But really, honestly, I think people are getting tired of even the hip hop girlies who are going so explicit. People are really looking to pivot just away from even the kind of explicitness of that too. I've noticed people are like, I do not want to see another behind on my Instagram feed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's me. Like
I'm hardcore pivoting away from that.
Yeah, very hardcore. And there's like nothing interested, like to the point where I'm literally like,
it's oversaturated.
It is, and I mean, all the butts are looking the same.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
It's like it's cool. It's like a little bit more cool to, honestly, frankly, in my opinion, to be more modest now.
That's like the
and I
cool
can
thing to be.
I support people who I really feel like have an artistry and a skill to bring forth. And I'm not saying that there's not a skill in their work, but it's like people who I know are really like studied, have really like disciplined and really do this, and they do it from a craft place, not so much a celebrity place. You know what I mean?
Which I think is what's disappointing is because as Beyonce's protege, you would think that you did some research to know that. And it's just like, how did we miss the mark? Like, I mean, yesterday I did a basic search of Beyonce's album. So you had her first album, which was Dangerously in Love. Mm-hmm. You had her second album, B-Day. You had, what's the next one? What's the next album?
Sasha Fierce. I Am Sasha Fierce.
Sasha Fierce. Yep, I Am Sasha Fierce. Then I think she had, was it 4 and then Beyonce?
Yeah, I think it was 4 and then Beyonce.
I think it was 4 and then Beyonce, right? She had a gradual build up to being a slightly more raunchy in a very like seductive way. Even when you saw her like music videos and on tour, she always did it like in a very like dark room, and you kind of just saw like the shadow, you know what I mean? And it was in like a very sensual, sexy way, you know what I mean? It wasn't like she was over here humping chairs and floors and
slapping
air and mannequins and slapping, you know, your lady bits and things like that. And if you wanted, like, if Cardi B did that, I'd be like, okay, Cardi, I see where you're going, you know. But like Chloe, like, dang, girl.
Yeah, it's just I was really put off by that video and it was released a year ago. I had never seen it, but that video she made, I just saw the Instagram.
Both of them, though. Both.
Yeah, I was really interesting. I was just put off by the movements she was making. It wasn't even that the song was just so horrible. I was like, I don't know what you're trying to tell. Like, are you trying to? It felt a little too explicit. Like, and I never say stuff like that. Because I'm not the one to be talking about what is explicit or not. I like put adult stuff in my work all the time, but I just think there's always a way you do it and a reason you do it. You know what I mean? And I feel like Chloe's reasons for doing it are just to like sit at the cool table with like the cool kids or like be like a part of the industry trends. And I'm like, what really brought people in is because you were not the trend. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think the thing is too, like, because her and her sister are known for a specific look and style of music, that unfortunately that follows, you know, them in their separate endeavors too. So it was just a really, 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 really hard pivot, you know, like, because even you can say like Beyonce, for example, Beyonce and Destiny's Child did like Cater to You, so it was like plausible. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was already plausible. Like Cater to You is very like, it just kind of like subliminally hits on some like catering, some things that could lead to like sexual endeavors and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. So that wasn't like far-fetched, you know what I mean? And then she also like built up her personal career to get to that point.
Yeah.
And Beyonce ain't never come out explicitly and just be like XYZ. You know what I'm saying? Even in her performance, she don't ever just come out. If anything, Beyonce is very like quirky and like tries to do something that like makes fun of something, if anything. Other than like her Beyonce album, but that was very like the mystery.
Yep.
So it's just like, Chloe, whoever your PR manager is, fired. Okay? Fired.
What can we do to correct or shift? What do you think we could do to shift her?
A revamp. A manager revamp.
Yeah, a revamp. A manager revamp. I think some of her clothing choices, I think we got to cut all that explicit choreography in the videos, and the lyrical content needs to be shifted as well.
I don't think it has to be cut. I just think there could be a more tasteful way of doing it. You know what I mean? So like,
well, maybe I'm saying cut the super explicit stuff, but revamp it.
Got it. Okay, I see. That's fair. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely think that could be. Maybe I'm just getting old. Am I conservative?
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Maybe we're getting conservative. Well, I think we're just like, I think we're exhausted by it's like over
saturated with that.
It's oversaturated with that kind of almost like porny type stuff. Like we're oversaturated with explicitness that like really at this point to be more modest or to be more conservative is more. That's what's unique now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this stuff used to be on edge, but it's so like normalized now. It's like I said, there was this point in time I was like, I'm scrolling through Twitter and all I'm seeing is random people's behinds, especially like festival season with Coachella. I was like, I just seen 8 white girls behinds, and they love your body, love whatever. But I just feel like there's a way to love your body, and like
you don't have to do all that.
You don't have to do all that, and I don't want to tell people. I do not want to come off like slut shamey or like, oh, you shouldn't be able to be as expressive as you want to be. You can be as expressive as you want to be. I just think you got to know, like, to me, there needs to be a reason why you're doing it. If I'm going to get less than clothed or naked or whatever, and, you see my artwork, like,
I mean, I see how you dress.
you see how I dress, but the reality is, like, when I put that out publicly, there's a distinct reason and there's a distinct critique and there's a reason I'm doing it or else I don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that, I think part of it is people sometimes get lost because it's like, oh, everybody else is doing this, so I should do it. And because there's this movement of body positivity. It's like, oh, well, I should do it too to be body positive. But you can be body positive and be more on the conservative end or the more mystery side of dressing. That's okay. I think that's what we're trying to say. And so it's
don't just do it for only if you're doing it for a trend.
Yeah, and it's just odd to see Chloe do it because it seems more like it's a trend or this is what the community of music wants, right? And it's like, no, you can stay true to you. You can.
Yeah. Again, disclaimer: we're not trying to body shame anybody. If you want to walk outside butt naked, whatever legal ramifications, go ahead. Nobody's telling you that your body is not beautiful and that if you want to wear, the behindless chops at the festival. The little chaps people were doing where they would wear the underwear and it was like basically a thong and they had little chaps with it. I saw that all on my timeline last year. If you want to do that, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying if it becomes 85 people are doing it or like 8,500 people are doing it and you got to join in with the crowd, even if it's not something is necessarily your personal like style or aesthetic, then it's like, what is this for? You know what I mean?
No, seriously. I think that that's what makes it awkward or weird. It's like, because it's like, that's not really,
it doesn't feel authentic. Yeah, it doesn't feel authentic.
Like, oh, okay. You're really forcing it,
Yeah.
Really forcing it.
But yeah, okay. That's how I would solve Chloe's PR price.
And Hallie, please refer us to your sister. Chloe, if you're listening, I can help you, girl. I got you.
Yes.
Okay? Hit me up.
And I would make her next album a little more acoustic. I would get away from hip hop. I'd make her next album a little more acoustic.
Honestly, I think like more indie. I think that's like really their vibe, and that's okay. I like their indie. I mean, I didn't like listen to it on like repeat or anything, but like I fought with the indie.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I think about Chloe. I think her stuff is really just image based.
Yeah, agreed. All right, who would you like to talk about?
Who else is on the list for the crises?
Should we talk about Ja?
Yeah, let's talk about Ja Morant.
All right, Ja Morant. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about my guy except for he played basketball. He in the NBA. He from something South Carolina, and he keep going on with these guns, right? So Ja
on Instagram after he's already said he's been suspended once. I thought
twice,
and then he got suspended again. I don't know if has he been permanently? Yeah, has he been permanently suspended?
I think for the season, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know how it works. I don't know, but he's been suspended again.
Anyways, he's about to fumble the bag, which is like a $200 million bag, a major bag.
Yeah, and he's really good. Notoriety. Apparently,
I think he was definitely like primed. Good. Yeah, he's probably primed to be kind of in that Dwayne Wade, LeBron James. Who else is really famous? Kevin Durant space, like that kind of like superstar space. I think that's where he was kind of primed to be. So obviously we know what the issue is. Stop flashing guns on the internet. Okay. But the deeper issue here is stop hanging out with people who would let you flash guns on the internet. Okay. And fumble a bag. Stop hanging out with people who have more to lose than you. That's a life lesson we all can take from this.
I asked the question. Like I asked the question
to lose than you, sorry.
Facts. I asked somebody the question. I was like, is it Ja or is it his friends? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think it's both. Like Ja, like, okay, why do you need a gun? Seriously, what do you need a gun with? And if it's really an issue with who you're hanging around or you don't feel safe, maybe not hang around them. I mean, you can be hanging out with millionaires, billionaires right now, getting you your next deal, and you over here worried about, Cuzzo from whoever's town with a
Pookie and Ray
gun.
Ray.
Like, sir, come on. We do not need to hang out with Pookie and Ray Ray. You don't.
This is really telling me that he does not have any kind of PR team. Like, I don't think he has anybody saying anything about how he presents himself to the public, which is why he's doing this.
I disagree. I think he may have a PR team, but he is one of those people that's young and just being like, oh, well, I have it, so it's just not going to go anywhere. And it's like a given. And so the thing is about being in situations where you need the people to make you successful, they will easily, and especially as an African, but they will take that away in a day. So the part of it is when you're enter into those spaces, you got to present how they want you to present. And at the end of the day, as a basketball player, you represent the league, you represent that team, you represent basketball as a whole, everything. You know what I mean? So you have to abide by their rules. You signed a contract, and they can take that away from you too.
Exactly. I'm not, we don't want to advocate tap dancing for, these white entities. Okay. We're not saying that, but there is a way you conduct yourself. And the truth is, even if the team owner was black and this was a black team, like, they would have rules. Okay. There's like certain things that you just, when you step into a certain space, you represent said space. You know what I mean? And you represent yourself, too, in that space, which is why it's important, I think, before you get into those kinds of spaces to have a very clear identity with who you are so that, when you step in here, you're like, this is what I bring, this is how I offer it, and this is what I stay true to, and I'm not going to waver from that image. You know what I mean? I think that that's important. But obviously they're so young that, like, they're plucking these, these young people straight out of college and stuff, and it's like, and then sometimes, they skated on into college too. So, like, it's just like, you don't really
forced their way through.
Or like
I think he only did a year in college and then he got out and
which is not enough time to develop into the kind of well-rounded, well-being, like, what individual that college molds you into. Sorry, one year is not enough.
Yeah, no, I think he's only like 23. And to be honest, because it was like projected for him to kind of do that due to like the parameters of the NBA. Yeah, and I think that it was just kind of like, I just got to get through this so I can go pro,
Yeah, which is unfortunate because you should college
regardless of his managers.
I don't know.
I think so.
Whoever they are, if they are, is not doing it. But
yeah.
And I'm not saying.
He just doesn't seem like he has anything to lose. Like he's
he's seems like he doesn't grasp the concept of like what's happening to him. I mean, people kill for those opportunities. Kill for those opportunities, okay? And you have been blessed with the talent and the right people and the whatever to make that happen for yourself, okay? And
as like the public, you just kind of like see it slipping away.
Oh yeah, definitely. The public is just like, what are you doing? And behind who? Because the thing is, I can see if, your cousins and your buddies were somehow making you $500 million versus the NBA contract, which was $200. Okay. But they don't have anything to offer you. They literally have nothing to lose.
They're relying on you, if anything.
Yeah. I will be damned if you catch me going back somewhere I came from. No offense. I will give back in different ways, but I'm going to go through the proper charity type channels. I'm not about to be riding around in cars with you. Not doing that. We're not like.
No, seriously.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but he elevated out of that lifestyle in some ways.
Yeah. And I don't look at that's what I'm confused about. Like, did he even live that lifestyle?
I don't know.
Did he? In the first place? That's what I'm like confused about. Like, I haven't really done like major research on him or anything to know, but it's just kind of like I don't think he came from that type of lifestyle.
So maybe he's just trying to flex and like he sees it as like it's like trying to be part of the cool kids. So. In a weird way, kind of like Chloe, like trying to be part of the cool kids. Or he feels like that's cool, but I'm like, there's a reason people leave the hood, bro, or they leave that lifestyle. That's weird to me.
No, for real. And I think also too, like, especially if he did not come from that lifestyle, you were flexing to have or to perpetuate that you're from that lifestyle. When people in that real lifestyle actually most of the time want to get out at some point or another. Like, it's not cute. And you have an out and you still do that? It's just weird.
That's weird to me. I'll be damned if I let a contract like that go by me. I would hope that my family would get me together real quick and be like, what the are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so he's made it in the league. He's making all this money. It's like he just feels like he can just do whatever.
But you can't. Like, I think you can start doing whatever when you really know that the money that you're making is yours and yours to lose or gain. But you're relying.
That's the thing. He's already gotten that.
No, but I'm saying at this point he's relying on this institution, the NBA, to be the funder for this.
That's what you're saying.
You know what I mean? When you a LeBron James, LeBron James can act crazy and kind of rebound. He's at that status in his life,
and he don't.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen LeBron in a negative light.
Yeah,
he did in the game for 20 years.
He doesn't go around acting crazy.
It's something simple like cheating scandals and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever.
And most of his other colleagues do have that stuff. So, but yeah, I think that you can play around more when you have enough leverage and money to do these things on your own. But right now, you're relying on the NBA to make these things happen for you. And that's where he's at in his life and his career. He should be there in his career. That's where he's at, like working with these organizations. But I don't know. You're fumbling the bag. And I'm like, I guess nobody is talking critically to this young man. I guess not. Because he seems to not really have
be. I'm trying to think. Like, how do we get? The first time, okay, but the second time is like,
and I think they were really on your side, weeks. They were within weeks of each other.
It really was.
It wasn't even like it was like no change behavior.
Mm-hmm. Like you didn't learn your lesson at all.
Which at that point, I'm like, you know what? If this is the lesson you have to learn in your life, then this is what it has to be. Like I don't feel bad too much.
Well, I don't at all. I think at this point, it just seems like he is going to have to get it now, or he's going to keep going down this path of reaping the repercussions of his actions until it's no longer the opportunity's there. The thing is, he's really good. So I think they will give him more opportunities from what I've been told. But I think that they will continue to give him more opportunities. And especially if these are just thrown at him and he just knows that he's so good and he'll never have to go anywhere. At one point or another, it'll be like, oh, well, you gotta go.
They're gonna get tired. But eventually, no matter how good you are, people don't want to put up with shit. I don't care what anybody says. You can be amazingly talented. People, there's so much people will put up with until they're just like, you know what? Yeah, you are talented, but you obviously don't want it.
Yeah, no, because they can just find somebody else that's really good.
Exactly. That's how I'm like, and to be honest, no offense, Ja Morant, like there's always gonna be some kid coming up out of nowhere who can do what you can do and more. That's how this works. You just find the next best athlete. They find the next best athlete who's like right neck and neck with you. So I just like.
And then kids are coming in constantly, left and right. You know what I mean? So it's not like they don't have their options of picking. Like they don't have the pickings. It's in their hands.
Exactly. Yeah, I
don't know. I really hope he gets it together because I think that he could have a promising career. But the way that he's going is looking very shaky.
Yeah. How would you revamp him? What would you do? I would have him.
I think
first off, you got to cut them friends or whatever that lifestyle.
Yeah, we're gonna have to clean.
You got to cut that. You got to cut that, and then I think he needs to make some sort of public apology, and then I think he also needs to do some sort of like anti-gun, charity work, some sort of donation, something, and he needs to really sit down, and he needs to like basically be put in what college gives you, which is you go to work, you do homework, and you go home. Like he needs to be in that kind of schedule.
Yeah, no, I think
like, unfortunately he kind of needs like a little babysitter or something, Apparently.
No, I definitely think some type of like support and like gun reform would be appreciated. And some sort of like apology would be appreciated. I think also what would be really helpful is
he's apologized to the NBA too.
Yeah, I think he needs to apologize to even his fans and things like that too, because it's like you're showing kids that this is okay as well, and these kids support you.
And kids, and we know, but gun violence is a major issue in the United States, so
so that's not something to be taken lightly. But I think also too, I think he just needs a revamp in the sense of like, you know what? If you're going to be in this, you need to market yourself in a way to get deals outside of basketball, because basketball is not going to be forever. So pivoting, like, you say you're in the league for 20 years, you have to be actively working in those 20 years to make something else for yourself, because at some point that's going to stop. That career does not go on forever. So it's up to you and your team to make that happen. So I think shifting it from the focus of like, oh, you're just a basketball player right now, and shifting it to like, you are more than a basketball player after you finish playing basketball. Yeah. Maybe that could help him.
Most definitely. And somebody needs to, this is really a parent's job, but somebody needs to, it's not about raising, but he needs to learn to take something seriously. Because I feel like he's like living life not taking certain things seriously. It's like, this is the opportunity people work for and slave for and work very hard for in their lives. And you're really not taking this as a...
Fumbling the bag.
Yeah, this is not, it has no severity to it for you, you know? And it's like,
yeah, that's
I hate
true.
to see it.
You really do. Because, I mean, it's like I said, from what I hear, he's a really good player. You know what I mean? And he could be, you know, LeBron is, I'm pretty sure, going to be retiring in probably the next like 10 years. And so a lot of the old players who we have known as like the major players of the league are fading out now. They're getting older. They're going to have to go find other avenues. So this is the perfect time for him to get it together, to make it his scene, you know? Exactly. But this is not helping. This is just not helping.
This is not helping. He's cutting himself off before he even gets in the door. So
yeah, seriously. And I don't think he's been in that long. I think he's only been in for like a couple of years.
Yeah. If I was his mom, I would be pulling him aside so freaking fast.
Anybody close to him, I would be like, you have got to do better, buddy. Got to.
I hope that, you know, I just hope my family always holds me accountable for the things I do in my life.
If nobody does, I will.
If nobody does, Caitlin will definitely don't have to worry about that. Okay.
And I will also be your PR manager.
What are you doing? Exactly. What did you say?
Yeah. You look.
Get over here.
Crazy. Courtney, take it off.
Now.
Yeah. We are going to the Oscars.
Get rid of it.
Exactly. Throw the whole outfit away. As a matter of fact, the whole body right now. I'm frustrated. This is...
I didn't raise you like this.
That's the one right there that always gets you. I did not raise you to be
like this.
This is just trifling.
Get over here.
Exactly. Right now. Where I beat your body.
Yeah, okay, who's our next celebrity?
All right, we got, how are we feeling about Britney Spears? This one's a touchy one.
This was a touchy one because people are really out here fighting for Britney tooth and nail.
Which I understand why. I think the girl deserves her rights, but the rights to not be on social media, because the things that I'm seeing are just like, maybe, I don't know if Daddy was right.
If he was wrong. Yeah, he had not been wrong. Yeah, I think she got married recently. Did she not? I think she got married to somebody recently.
But I don't think she has her kids. I don't think so.
Okay. I think there was some truth to that conservatorship. No offense. Say what you want. I think there was some truth. Don't tussle with us. But the way, I mean, it's just this sort of erratic behavior that happens, and she posted on the internet, and I'm like, I'm not sure if, like, I almost want to think that this is satirical and sort of like ironic and like,
she's so serious.
Look at this like craziness, but I don't know if it's like that line between I don't know. It's like, who do I call? Do I laugh or do I call the cops? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
know what else to do.
Yeah,
just roll.
You don't know what else to do, so you're like, well, okay, Britney, glad you're free, I guess. But yeah, and she it's not like she's made music or anything, or that she's like on tour or anything. It's like she just kind of posts these random things and.
maybe, and I was thinking maybe she just needs time to heal. You know what I mean? Like, because she was in that conservatorship for a very, very, very long time. And apparently that started because she had like a mental break, right? So maybe she's still like, sometimes people don't come back from a mental break. So maybe it could be that, you know? But I guess because I do think it's important for people to have their freedom. Even in a conservatorship, it should not be to the point where you're controlling every aspect of their life. But it does make sense why they did not want her posted on social media. I'm not going to lie. Because if this is what was going, if this is the content we're getting, I can see how that looks very interesting. Like Courtney said, I'm battling between concern and concern, you know?
Yeah.
Because to me, it's not even funny. It's just like, something seems off. Very off.
For sure. And another thing, too, I think is like, okay, we have to also admit like the history. Like Britney Spears is definitely part of that era of exploit your kids, the Mickey Mouse Club, put your kids up there singing since from the time they were like 8, right? Okay, so that is definitely a part of who she is. Yeah, she's definitely part of that like child exploitation entertainment industry world. Okay, she was hypersexualized. We know that. We know that she was like worked basically to the bone. Okay, and we know that she was hounded by paparazzi. She was hounded by the media. She has never really been able to live a full life as a person. She never has been able to. You know, she's always been out there that way. So yes, and that in itself is trauma inducing and mental trauma inducing. That is not normal. It's not okay. We should not be treating people like that, especially as children. Because that, you know, think about the majority of the stuff was happening.
As a parent.
Yeah.
Because her dad is ruthless, in my personal opinion. Like he did not stop at any point.
Because like, you know, it's the same thing like Whitney Houston, like cash cow in the family. So they start capitalizing off of that, you know? But, you know, all this, a lot of what the trauma that was happening to Britney was before she was 25, which is prefrontal cortex, right? Prefrontal cortex, which is developmentally, like that's a part of her development, her brain development, her body development is being this like child star, right? And, you know, we've seen this happen time and time again. All kinds of child stars have gone down, you know, in flames, right? I just think Britney has been able to survive it, actually. And I think in some ways, and I think this is honestly sort of just like the aftermath of kind of that system, putting people in that system. We're just seeing it play out real time. And it's concerning.
Very concerning.
And then when you don't have the kind of family structure that is going to be more supportive and not exploitive, it makes it very difficult to proceed. Like we were saying, I think that level was happening with Whitney Houston, probably even with people like Michael Jackson too. I think on some level, like, you know, remember when Justin Bieber was going through that whole thing? I think people like him go through it. I think like, you know, documentaries come out like Brooke Shields was having issues. Like all these people were having issues because they were 8 years old, like being sold and branded to the public. And like,
majority of them. I mean, Demi Lovato,
Miley Cyrus. It's like nobody really escaped that. They don't really escape the level of trauma that comes with being frankly a child star. The only one who really escaped is Beyonce, and I think it's because Beyonce was the one who decided to make that happen for herself. It was a conscious decision for Beyonce.
And I think her parents did a really good job of protecting her too. Like, and the good thing was her dad knew the industry, I think a little bit beforehand, and so he was able to navigate that with her and be like, we're going to do this, we're not going to do this. And I think he already had a little bit of access, really, to mitigate that, you know, versus everybody else. They had to.
I think Beyonce has always been, I think because it's self-driven a lot of times for Beyonce, even when she was a little itty bitty, it was sort of self-driven. I don't think Beyonce was really necessarily a, quote, child star in the same way some others were, because Beyonce didn't really get on until she was about in her 20s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I mean, she was in Destiny's Child, but she was a teenager by that time, and it was kind of like, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it, which is a different sort of upbringing.
Yeah, and I think too that like Beyonce stuck to music in its entirety. Like she didn't really like branch out as a child to get to where she wanted to go. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Versus like everybody else was like, oh, we'll just join Disney. Yeah, we'll just join Disney to get where we want to go. And it's like, did you want that for just that child, or did that child want that? And also, is this really a good place conducive for that? Because it seemed like Disney is a root of a lot of problems. Like a lot of people have come out and said Disney was the problem.
Yeah. Even not people who are not as A-listers, like the the girl from Even Stevens, Christy Carlson Romano. I've listened to her podcast a couple times, and she was just talking about just being a child star and kind of how that like messes up your orientation as a child. You know what I mean? Even if you want to get into that industry, it's like it messes up your orientation. You know. Mm-hmm. And she was talking even with people, other really famous people, like the girl from the lady who played. What's her name? Raven's best friend. That's a Raven. She had the girl. She had like a bunch of people we knew growing
up. Chelsea. I don't know who she was. Her
yeah. Name. Mm-hmm. They have other people on there, and they were just talking about basically being like going through this Disney, like ex-Disney stars, right? Mm-hmm. And I think honestly, we get into it. Disney owes some people some money. They owe people some like therapy. They owe people some like restitution, counseling. Disney owes people some money for just dragging them through the mud. To be honest,
yeah. Even like Amanda Bynes, you
Amanda
see her
Bynes,
mental break.
Yeah.
She's
Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan. Mm-hmm.
Like they all even these like child stars.
Ashley slightly. Mary-Kate and Ashley. A little more private with it, but.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, most of these child stars that we love, like, coming out years and years later, it's like they were going through hell. We loved them, but they were going through hell, to make it happen.
And to make us happy, like we, pinpoint that as a very positive time in our lives. But that's a very informative time for a kid to be going
developmental
through those things.
Time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we think about how unhappy we are sitting at our 9-to-5 jobs. As adults, and how miserable, and like that changes our body structure, that changes our health, that changes our eating habits, that changes everything. This is a child who doesn't even know what's necessarily happening to them.
Exactly. They're just doing what they're told at that point.
And the demands made on performers is 10 times more than what is made on people who work 9-to-5, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then you got family members like, you got to do this because this is what keeps our house, keeps us in this house. This is what keeps it. Yeah. And it's like, it's a lot. That's a lot.
So how would we effectively help Brittany?
Okay, first things first, I'm taking her off the internet.
And
going to Instagram. She's going to counseling. We're going to actually figure out like what is potentially wrong. I'm not saying reinstate a conservatorship because I think that's also controlling and kind of weird. I'm not saying doing that, but I think we're going to counseling. I think we're going to figure out if there's actually a chemical, something neurological going on in the brain, not just so it would be a therapist as well as like a psychiatrist. So we're going to go to both of those people. And then we're going to like sit down and really discuss like, what do you see for yourself in your career, and are you committed to that or not? And if you are committed to that, then we need to be taking XYZ steps to make sure that this is the appropriate way to do that. You know what I mean? And I would have a hard conversation with her and be like, I think the way you think you're coming off is not the way you're coming off to other people. Just letting you know. Potentially.
Very true.
Because I don't know if people are telling her that,
Yeah, I think she really needs a good support system. And I think part of it is also not knowing where to turn, who to trust, where to go. So I think that's also another aspect of it. It's just the whole situation about Brittany is just really disheartening. It really is. It's really sad. Because you saw where she was going, the potential, and then you literally could watch her downfall. Literally watched it. So that one gets me.
And I would make sure that I would like look at Brittany as how do we heal this person first, not so much her image or her brand or whatever. Like I'd be like, I think person,
you know who we should send her to? Iyanla.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
That's
Brittany. They need to bring in a special council force of Iyanla and every other lifestyle guru out there who can just get your spirit together.
Exactly.
Not on my watch.
Exactly. Not today. Not
Not on my watch. You're
yes,
out of
sir.
order.
Out of order. That's a good one right there. That is her saying.
They need Oprah and Iyanla and a spear of Maya Angelou to really get that together, I think.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think for Brittany, what I would do first is call Iyanla hands down. That's my only and one pointer there. And stop posting. That I will recommend. But
yeah,
I do think it also shows that that superstars don't always have everything okay. So I'm not as adamant about not posting as I am just seeking help.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think Brittany is more of a personal issue. Like, I would be less concerned about her public image and her brand right now than just is Brittany okay as a human being person?
Yeah, and I think that has already been tarnished. So it's okay,
I mean, she has some work to. If she's okay and can really move forward and she heals and gets everything together, personally wise, I think there is a lot of. There would be a massive uphill battle to get her quote brand back together.
Yeah.
But but I don't think anything's impossible, and she's not old, so
yeah.
And people she is tied to nostalgia at this point, so she's always gonna live in people's brains. We all know Baby Hit Me One More Time. We all know Brittany,
her little Disney house thingy,
Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Christina Aguilera came out okay though. On the other end of that, though, I think sometimes it takes different personalities too. I mean, she came out more okay.
Yeah, but some people can survive Christina that. Quickly pivoted though.
That's true. You're right.
And Christina's support system was very different.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. I think you got to have a certain kind of personality to get through that.
I think so too, and I think the want to get through it as well could change things. Like if a kid's no longer interested, I think as a parent that is a time to stop. Not necessarily obviously explore it to the extent of are you just giving it because it's not working out how you want it to work out, or you really you know what, I want to just enjoy my childhood. I think that's a valid concern as a kid for the parent to listen to, because at the end of the day, that you're making your kid do something they don't want to do. They're going to resent you. They're going to resent the situation. And then you could make them have a mental breakdown. Seriously. Mm-hmm. So it's just really concerning. It's just really concerning. Mind you, they're in the industry full of adults who are trying to get something from them. And they don't even know anything about themselves. Nothing. Yeah. So their identity is linked to a character that they have to play. Mm-hmm. That's very strange.
It is strange. It's a very weird way to grow up. It's really not a way to grow up, to be honest.
Oh, do you think the child acting industry? First of all, I think it should be heavily regulated for one.
I agree.
But I also think that it should also. Do you think it should be completely not a thing?
I think you can potentially start to devalue, but it would limit certain artistic decisions, right? Like we couldn't have children in movies. We couldn't have children in plays. We couldn't have children in these things, right? I think so that could limit it on that end. I think, and there are some genuine performers who start out super, super young and are this is just what they want to do. They know how to, you know what I mean? And I don't want to cut that opportunity from them. So I don't think it's bad to have children in that industry. I think it is an incredibly predatory industry. It's predatory for adults, so it's certainly predatory for children. So I think it could be regulated probably more, and they need to do more mental health things, and they need to make sure that the child is able to also have a normal existence, which I think usually is the parents advocating for that kind of thing. And it depends on you hear stories about some child stars who were yeah, we had a teacher on set, but otherwise I was playing baseball on Saturdays, or I was doing this on, so I was still a kid. So I just think it's about the group of adults who are around you, and if you get unfortunately an exploitive group of adults around you, is going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're an adult, like, you know, to go back to Whitney Houston, she was an adult and still had an exploitive group of adults around her, of like family members around her. Like Whitney Houston wasn't signed until she was like 18, 19. She really didn't come out till she was like in her early 20s. So she was technically an adult, you know, but she still was deeply taken advantage of, you know. So there was still some like growth process that needed to happen there. So I don't know if it's strictly about the child, but I do think because they are children, there needs to be stricter regulations. And I think there's a certain, I know for filmmaking, there's a certain number of hours a child can legally work on like union projects. And they have to have, you know, teachers on set if it's like a TV show. And I think it's a courteous thing to do to try to like get the kid out, get the child scene done as early as possible so that they can like go home and be with their families and, you know, be somewhat normal kind of thing. I think that's what people try to do as much as possible, or they try to like, you know, if there is a kid like on set, they're not going to like talk about like the strip club or whatever. You know, they try to like make it child friendly. I think there's places who try to do that as much as possible, but there's also places who like don't care, you know. So that's a hard one. That's a hard one, I think.
No, I think that's why that's why the industry still exists, and I think that's why obviously the industry is so successful that I don't think they want to put limits on it. So here we are.
And think about how many children have made a lot of money for a lot of people. Like since the industry has started, think about like Shirley Temple or Judy Garland. Like child exploitation in these industries has, Disney. These industries that were built on, a lot of these companies were built on the backs of children, little children, especially girl children. So I think that it has always been a part of, you know, the industry to have children around. And then we talk about like something even more insidious, which is like the parties that they would have where they were basically molesting little kids. And, you know, you've heard people come out about those things. And like, so I don't think that this is uncommon. I don't think that it is that's a dark part of the industry that I think the best thing you can do is, as a parent, advocate for your kid, as well as if you are in a leadership position creatively, advocate for children, and make those environments as safe for children as possible. It's super out of the norm, so it's never going to be normal, but make it as safe and conducive and uplifting for children as possible. You know what I mean? I know that's something I would do. I've never written anything with a child in that I would need to shoot with a child. And usually I try not to write things with kids because I'm just like, I don't want to put a child in that position. But I know I would be like fiercely protective of the child just because not only my own childhood, but I know that like it's a lot for adults. So it's a lot for a kid. So like that would be protecting women and children is always something that I would make sure that I would be doing for sure. Not that men don't need to be protected, but we live in a patriarchy, so there.
Yeah, I also think as adults, like it just looks different because you have the option to do that. You have hopefully the cognitive ability to make that choice and not make that choice. So remove yourself from that environment if you absolutely have to. So as a child, you don't have that, and I think that's the key. You know.
Yeah.
Should children be allowed or should they not be allowed? So.
It's honestly, you hate to say this, a kid is as good as the adults around you, you know?
Oh, 100%. That is in every case. Like your kid is a sponge of who you are as a parent and who you are as a person most of the time. So it's usually copy and paste.
Exactly. For sure. And then, I mean, I think there's things you can do even that aren't regulated to make things more comfortable. Like I was saying, like, okay, we're going to shoot the scenes with the kid earlier in the morning. We're going to get those out of the way so that they can go home, be with their families, or do whatever activity, or know their school schedule. Okay, well, so-and-so has school here and there, so this is when we're going to shoot said scenes with so-and-so. You know what I mean? Like, those are just kind of like courteous things you can do. Or you can have like a special space like this is just for the kids. Like nobody, mess with this area for the kids, maybe like get their snacks or whatever. Like obviously you got to work, but you want to make it as comfortable for them as possible because this is their childhood, you know? So I don't know.
So yeah, well, I guess that wraps up our episode on us being doing PR revamps.
Okay, well, before we go, I want to know, who do you think is PR who was getting it right? We talked about everybody that's getting it wrong. Who's getting it right now?
Okay. I obviously Beyonce is getting it right. Period. Mm-hmm. I think, I don't know if she has a PR person, but I love Lori Harvey. Yes, keep it up, girl.
Yeah, Lori Harvey.
I think she's killing it. I think
CaCo Jones is. Hallie's doing good.
I think Hallie's killing it.
I still think her PR is doing good. I think it's working for her.
Yeah, they have her in a positive light, and they have her doing things that look good on her. You know what I mean? So I give that to her. Who else? I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Cardi B's manager, they're doing good too. Like, she's in her wheelhouse. Yeah, you know. So I would have to say Cardi B. I think she does a really good job, in using what she comes with and what she can offer to make millions. Who else?
I'm not really sure where Meg Thee Stallion is, but maybe her PR was just like, take a break.
I hope so. After that last little stunt, oof, take a break. That's what it was making. That Tory Lanez thing, that was wild.
What do you think? Do you think the Kardashians' PR? They have such a weird Kris PR scheme to me. I mean,
Kris Jenner is genius. Got it on lock. Period. Yes.
I know she got it on lock, but like, it's still just like, I don't.
That's what artists need to hire.
Kris Jenner, yeah, for real. It's like, I don't know. She is notorious for turning a negative into a positive.
Into anytime. I mean,
I think their ratings are going down. People aren't watching the Kardashians so much anymore. But she about to make a pivot. She gonna make a pivot.
100%. Watch. Why do you think every single one of them has a brand? Every single one of them have a brand to sell something now. So it's like, I really like, the Kardashians will never be hurting. Let's be for real, never. And I'm sure, like, the way Kris works. The way Kris works, I really feel like they have investments beyond what we could even possibly conceive. So it's not even a worry. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just not even a worry. But Kris Jenner, you need to be these people's managers. That's who need to be that. Yep. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Kris. That's my favorite Kardashian. I love me some Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner said, I'm going to do this times 15 bajillion. Every one of them kids got a darn deal. Every one of them a millionaire. Every one of them got money. Every one of them got a business. I'm telling you, that's how you do it. And what is she doing? She manages them and then get money off of them. Genius. Genius.
I mean, she's exploiting her kids to do it, but I mean...
But is she really? I don't think she's exploiting them. She's using their benefit.
Yes, but
that's not exploiting.
She's pimping her kids. You can say what you want. Kris Jenner has successfully redefined momager and pimping her kids out. Say what you want.
No, I disagree. I think what she's done is, because like every one of them has wanted to do different things. She hasn't like pushed them in any direction they did not want to go. She's like, if you want to do this, let me show you how to do this and let's make some millions doing it, girl. That's how your parents should be.
I mean, I'm not saying if you're going to do it. Yes. I'm just saying that I think, though, that like the kind of stuff they're doing is like, is it morally, ethically correct?
Yes.
Probably not.
Because she's never done anything that the kids did not want to do. Like, all the kids were like, I'm interested, like, kind of like makeup.
I'm talking about from a...
Jenner. Not Jenner.
I know,
Kendall,
I'm just saying.
Modeling.
I know it's stuff that the kids want to do. I'm just saying, are they necessarily thinking about the greater good of society and their impact on society? No, they're getting their coin.
But that's whose job is that? That ain't Kris Jenner's. That damn sure ain't gonna be Catelyn's job. So I can promise you that's not my problem. That's just not my problem. So like I said, I love me some Kris Jenner, my favorite Kardashian.
It's some of it is ethically
I disagree. I mean,
okay. Well, we agree to disagree because
the thing is, like, I could see if she was
given responsibility for what you put out into the world. That.
Okay, I think, but here's the thing: as a manager, you are pretty much advising X, Y, and Z. What the client does, that falls back on them. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's your brand, and I'm still gonna collect my check, and that's what Kris saying. Do what you want, Kim. Make a porn tape. We all gonna make some money off of it.
I mean,
let's be honest. That's how the family got famous. But
yeah, I mean,
let's be honest.
think
That's how the family got famous. But
I know, but I'm saying, but in that way,
it
it's
wasn't
like
the sex tape wasn't already done.
Most moms would be like, no. Most moms would be mortified, and she turned it into a business. I'm not saying it doesn't benefit.
Listen.
It's weird.
Listen, Linda. Okay, think about it from this aspect. So you have somebody make a sex tape with, and they're like, you know what, I'm about to expose you, baby. I'm gonna get ahead of that, and I'm gonna release it and get my money first. Yes, sir, I am. Now, first mistake was maybe you should make a sex tape unless you really want to, obviously you trust this person, or maybe you keep the tape in your hands, right? But obviously that was not the scenario. So you better believe I'm putting it out first, and I'm gonna make some money off of it. If somebody is trying to blackmail me, baby, you ain't gotta blackmail me. It's out.
Easy. It's still skeezy.
I don't think so. And everybody's out here getting a little wham bam, thank you, ma'am, in every now and again. So it should not be that taboo. It really shouldn't.
I mean,
I'm not opposed. Go Kris Jenner.
Okay, Catelyn supports Kris Jenner. I'm not opposed to her. I think the way she went about it is like, okay, so some of it is like, well, I'm taking my daughter's S tape and doing something with it to make money and creating a name for herself. That in itself is like, I guess it's working honest, but it pays the bills. I guess that's what it is. I don't know. But
baby, it's paying more than bills. It's paying for a luxurious lifestyle. Okay. Just saying.
But I don't know. I still think as a family collectively, they don't take responsibility for what they put out into the world. And they have single-handedly changed the like beauty standard, which has made a lot of people insecure and made people go get these BBLs and fill up their lips and do all this stuff. And like there is a cultural ramification to them putting themselves out that way.
You also have to take some accountability though, because nobody is forcing you to do anything.
I agree, but I'm saying I agree, but they made it popular.
Sure, you may have made it popular, but they made it popular, and I choose not to have a BBL. Like, that's my personal opinion.
I agree.
That's my personal prerogative to choose. You cannot say, and I don't even like the Kardashians, but you cannot say Kim Kardashian is making you get a BBL. That is wild.
No,
that's why. If she has that much impact on your life, that's a problem with you, boo. They ain't got nothing to do with Kim. Kim is out there living her best life.
I agree that Kim is not making anybody get a BBL. I'm just saying she shifted the cultural image, which makes people insecure.
You can't pin that all on Kim. That's not fair.
I'm not pinning it totally on Kim. I'm saying that people like her have continued to shift the culture, which we all know that these industries are predatory and prey on people's insecurities and weaknesses.
And so that's why it's good to have a Kris Jenner not prey on the insecurities. Those girls made that choice when they got older and they were doing that on their own. They had nothing to do with Kris. Ain't had nothing to do with Kris. Kris is over here trying to collect a dollar and live with her boyfriend, Corey. She's trying to live her best life.
Okay, defend Kris Jenner then.
Yeah,
I still think there's some ethical questions there, but
I don't think so.
Go ahead,
like
girl.
If you had to do it anyway, I'm doing a Kris Jenner. Let my kid come to me and be like, "Hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z." I'm gonna have a nice little conversation. You want me to be a Kris Jenner? Or you want me to be a Britney Spears daddy? Let me know. Which one would you rather?
Ocean and Ozzy, watch out.
Honey, watch your kids.
You already put them on YouTube.
Yep. But they got to start paying some bills around here. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got to be a Kris. That's why you got to be a Kris, because you got to have your own. Them kids was millionaires like straight out the 20s. I'm out the pooch. Seriously. It's just like genius, really. Really.
Are you going to become a momager now?
I mean, probably not, because that's really not what I want to see with my life. But if I had to be, I feel like I would be a good runner-up for Kris.
What if it stopped making your kids happy? If your kids were like, what if, around 21, Kim was like, you know what, Mom, I really don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a teacher.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what Kris did. Like Courtney. Courtney ain't really in the limelight like that, because that's just like something that she enjoys. So what does she do? She lives rich and lives her own life doing her own thing. She comes in and pops in whenever she feels like, or she doesn't. Same thing with Chloe. Chloe's not as into it as like Kim. Kim is heavily into it. Kylie's heavily into it. And Kendall just does her modeling things. So that's why I'm saying I don't feel like it's exploitative, because those are the things that they genuinely enjoy doing. Kim didn't have to release no sex tape. Kim chose to do that. And nobody told her to make it in the first place. So, as your manager, you got two options. You let him blackmail you, and you are going to be the topic of the Sun News, or you're going to be the topic of Sun News and make some money, honey. So let's get on out there and put it out. I don't see the issue. And it really shouldn't be that taboo. Like, geez, let the girl do her.
I think they don't take responsibility for what they put out into the world.
I disagree. I don't think it's their responsibility.
I think it is always the responsibility of somebody to be concerned about what they put out into the world.
Okay, to an extent, but like BBLs, like anybody could have did that. I mean, everybody's having a BBL. You could say the same thing about Cardi B. She had a BBL. Who else out here having BBLs? And
they should be responsible for what they put out into the world too. We're just
so they should be responsible for trying to feel good about themselves.
No,
that's wild. That's blasphemy. That means the person who's getting it, you have to be responsible for your actions.
What do you think about the Kardashians saying, "Oh, I've never had anything done," and they say that constantly? They're like, "Oh yeah, I've never had anything done." That's irresponsible. To me.
No, I think that's slightly irresponsible. Like you don't have to lie, honey. Like that's wild.
But they do it all the time. They do it all the time. And then like Kendall's Pepsi commercial, the whole idea of like, oh, we can just solve Black Lives Matter with this one Pepsi can. Like they've made serious missteps in the media, and it's I don't know.
But listen. The misstep is not with Kendall. The misstep is with Pepsi. You got the attention is directed in the wrong direction. Kendall is just getting a check, and I promise you, if they hit me with that, I might think about it too. Okay, so I feel like
we all know who's gonna be a momager.
Pretty much. And I just want you to know, Chris, I'm taking notes. So if you need a mentee, I'm right here. Hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your animals, hide your husbands.
Ocean and Ozzy, watch out because you got a momager on your hands.
Exactly. And I also got a list here with Chloe Bailey, Britney Spears, and John Morant. Call me if you need me, period.
Okay. Well, you know who else I think is getting it right? And you've already heard me talk about her, but her PR team is doing a good job. I think Samira Joy, the new jazz singer.
Oh yeah,
obviously she's not that she's like this. She's not obviously like as famous as like Beyonce or whatever, but she's definitely primed to be in that kind of elegant singer, songstress, really skilled space. And I think her PR team, and I don't know if her PR team is like as big, obviously, as other people, but she just released some new music today, and they're always putting out, really cute, endearing videos of her. And it's age appropriate. They got this like elegant, classy, cute, still young, hip thing kind of going for her that I think is really good, and it's putting her music out there. And she's getting some major play. So I think her team's doing a really good job, and much success to her. Continued. Love to see it.
Yeah, shout out to Samira.
And she's
her.
Also
she's
really
very sweet.
And she's also talented. And I think that's really hard to do in this world, is like push somebody who actually can really sing and really, do these things. Because, most things are just PR stunts now. And I feel like her team is really working on like putting her out as actually an artist. That's the truth. I'm not trying to be rude, but like a lot of times they rely on trends and this looks cool or whatever, but like they're really pushing like this is her voice, this is how she sings, and we're crafting a brand, I guess, around that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but she's really like, I think outside of like all of the logistics of becoming a star, she's just truly gifted, and so that definitely helps. That she truly has a gift to offer the world, and we are happy to consume it. And so that makes it a lot easier because she's not trying to make something that's not,
Yeah. She's direct contrast to Chloe Bailey to me, and not trying to be rude, but like, and even though they sing different genres, it's like, Samira has this gift, this talent, this skill that they really put a spotlight on, and they shine that the biggest, and Chloe at this moment is doing more of the like trendy, trying to like make herself this kind of persona. And I think we see the difference. That's all I'll say,
Wow. Chloe hit us up. Seriously now.
But yeah, we love you, Sammy. Go ahead, girl. Keep singing. I know, and you love to support people like honey. And you love to support people like that because they're really doing it.
Yeah, that's fair. So that's fair.
Yeah, okay. Well, Thank you guys for listening. This was our PR crisis, solving your celebrity PR crisis.
PR revamps.
This PR revamps. This was fun. Love talking about how we can shift the public narrative, and why a PR team really can. Yes, and why a PR team can really, really get you.
Make or break your career.
Make or break your career. Absolutely, it's all about marketing.
Yes. Well, we hope to see you guys in the next one.
Yes, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.